Act out. Meaning, to express emotions or thoughts through behavior. Example, children often act out their feelings through play. Example, the patient may act out due to emotional distress. Argue out. Meaning, to discuss thoroughly in order to reach a resolution. Example, they need to argue out the terms of the contract. Example, let's sit down and argue out the details. Ask out. Meaning, to invite someone on a date. Example, he finally mustered the courage to ask her out. Example, she was thrilled when he asked her out to dinner. Back out. Meaning, to withdraw from a commitment or agreement. Example, they decided to back out of the business deal. Example, don't back out now, we're counting on your support. Back out of. Meaning, to withdraw from a commitment or agreement. Example, she had to back out of the project due to personal reasons. Example, the company regretfully backed out of the partnership. Back out on. Meaning, to abandon or betray someone. Example, he couldn't believe she would back out on him. Example, it's not fair to back out on your team at this crucial moment. Bag out. Meaning, to criticize or mock someone. Example, it's not nice to constantly bag out your colleagues. Example, he felt hurt when his friends started to bag him out. Bail out. Meaning, to release someone from custody by providing bail. Example, they had to bail him out of jail after the arrest. Example, the family struggled to bail their son out of legal troubles. Bail out of. Meaning, to abandon or withdraw from a situation. Example, he decided to bail out of the failing business. Example, you shouldn't bail out of the project just because it's challenging. Bail out on. Meaning, to abandon or desert someone. Example, he can't believe she would bail out on him in a crisis. Example, don't bail out on your friends when they need you. Bang out. Meaning, to produce quickly and in large quantities. Example, they needed to bang out the reports before the deadline. Example, the author managed to bang out a novel in just a few weeks. Bash out. Meaning, to produce quickly and without much thought. Example, he had to bash out a response to the urgent email. Example, the journalist decided to bash out an article before the deadline. Bawl out. Meaning, to scold or reprimand loudly. Example, the teacher had to bawl out the unruly students. Example, the manager bawled him out for the serious error in the report. Be cut out. Meaning, to be suited or appropriate for a task. Example, I'm not cut out for public speaking, I get too nervous. Example, this job is cut out for someone with your skills and experience. Be out. Meaning, to be revealed or exposed. Example, the truth will be out eventually, you can't hide it forever. Example, the scandalous details of the affair are out now. Be out of. Meaning, to lack or be without something. Example, I'm sorry, we're currently out of stock for that item. Example, he's out of options and doesn't know what to do next. Be out to. Meaning, to have a goal or intention. Example, it seems like she's out to prove herself in the competition. Example, he's not just making mistakes, he's out to sabotage the project. Bear out. Meaning, to confirm or support. Example, the data collected bears out the initial hypothesis. Example, her testimony will bear out the truth of the situation. Beat out. Meaning, to defeat or surpass someone in competition. Example, they managed to beat out the other teams and win the championship. Example, her performance beat out all the other candidates for the role. Bed out. Meaning, to plant or arrange plants in a bed or garden. Example, they decided to bed out the new flowers in the backyard. Example, the landscapers will bed out the shrubs in a pattern. Belt out. Meaning, to sing or play music loudly and forcefully. Example, the singer belted out the high notes with incredible power. Example, the band decided to belt out their most popular songs at the concert. Blackout. Meaning, to lose consciousness or cause something to be obscured. Example, the athlete blacked out after an intense workout. Example, the power outage caused the entire neighborhood to black out. Blank out. Meaning, to forget or become unable to recall something. Example, I completely blanked out during the exam. Example, sometimes stress makes people blank out on important details. Blare out. Meaning, to play loudly or make a loud noise. Example, the music blared out of the speakers at the party. Example, the sirens blared out as the emergency vehicles approached. Bleed out. Meaning, to lose blood until death occurs. Example, without immediate medical attention, he could bleed out. Example, the wounded soldier was at risk of bleeding out on the battlefield. Bliss out. Meaning, to experience great joy or pleasure. Example, relaxing by the beach helps me bliss out and forget about stress. Example, after the successful presentation, she was ready to bliss out over the weekend. Block out. Meaning, to prevent something from entering or being seen. Example, use curtains to block out the sunlight in the morning. Example, he needed to block out the distractions to focus on his work. Blowout. Meaning, to extinguish a flame or cause a tire to burst. Example, she blew out the candles on her birthday cake. Example, the tire blowout caused the driver to lose control of the vehicle. Blurt out. Meaning, to say something impulsively or without thinking. Example, I accidentally blurted out the surprise party plan. Example, it's important to think before you speak and not blurt out secrets. Board out. Meaning, to cover or seal a window or door with boards. Example, they had to board out the windows to protect against the approaching storm. Example, the abandoned house was boarded out to prevent trespassers. Book out. Meaning, to check out or leave a place. Example, don't forget to book out before leaving the hotel. Example, participants can book out of the conference after the closing ceremony. Bottle out. Meaning, to lose nerve or back out at the last moment. Example, he tends to bottle out of challenges when they become difficult. Example, don't bottle out now, we're almost at the finish line. Bottom out. Meaning, to reach the lowest point or level. Example, the stock prices finally bottomed out after weeks of decline. Example, the economic recession caused housing prices to bottom out. Bowl out. Meaning, to dismiss a batsman in cricket by getting them out. Example, the bowler managed to bowl out the opposing team's key batsman. Example, the skilled bowler hopes to bowl out several players in the upcoming match. Branch out. meaning, to expand or diversify into new areas. Example, the company decided to branch out into international markets. Example, it's essential for individuals to branch out and explore different career paths. Breakout, meaning, to start or erupt suddenly. Example, a fire broke out in the kitchen, and everyone had to evacuate. Example, the conflict between the two groups threatened to break out again. Break out in, meaning, to develop suddenly, such as a rash or sweat. Example, she tends to break out in hives when stressed. Example, the athlete may break out in a sweat during intense training. Break out of, meaning, to escape or leave a place. Example, the prisoners managed to break out of the heavily guarded facility. Example, it's essential to break out of the routine and explore new opportunities. Bring out, meaning, to publish or release something. Example, the author plans to bring out a new book next month. Example, the company will bring out a new line of products in the upcoming season. Bring out in, meaning, to cause a reaction or emotion. Example, the news about the promotion brought her out in tears of joy. Example, the intense emotions brought him out in a cold sweat. Bug out, meaning, to leave hastily or abruptly. Example, they decided to bug out of the party when it started getting too crowded. Example, in case of an emergency, have a plan to bug out quickly and safely. Bulk out, meaning, to make something appear larger or fuller. Example, the chef used extra ingredients to bulk out the soup for more servings. Example, the costume designer added padding to bulk out the actor's appearance. Bundle out, meaning, to expel or dismiss someone abruptly. Example, the unruly student was bundled out of the classroom for disruptive behavior. Example, the manager decided to bundle out the employee for violating company policies. Burnout, meaning, to become exhausted or lose enthusiasm. Example, working long hours without breaks can lead to burnout. Example, he decided to take a vacation to prevent burnout from his demanding job. Butt out, meaning, to stop interfering or minding someone else's business. Example, I wish my nosy neighbor would butt out of my personal affairs. Example, if you don't have anything constructive to say, just butt out. Buyout, meaning, to purchase the entirety or a controlling interest in a business. Example, the larger company decided to buy out the smaller competitor. Example, the investors offered to buy out the majority shares of the struggling company. Call out, meaning, to publicly criticize or challenge someone. Example, the activist decided to call out the government's inaction on climate change. Example, it's important to call out inappropriate behavior in the workplace. Cancel out, meaning, to offset or nullify the effect of something. Example, the positive impact of the new policy may cancel out the negative aspects. Example, the errors in the calculations could cancel each other out. Carry out, meaning, to perform or complete a task or action. Example, the company will carry out a thorough investigation into the incident. Example, it's essential to carry out the planned safety procedures during the experiment. Carve out, meaning, to create or establish something through effort and skill. Example, the artist worked hard to carve out a unique style in her paintings. Example, entrepreneurs often have to carve out their niche in competitive markets. Cash out, meaning, to withdraw or convert investments into cash. Example, the entrepreneur decided to cash out his shares in the company before the decline. Example, she chose to cash out the winnings from the successful venture. Cast out, meaning, to expel or banish someone or something. Example, the group decided to cast out the troublemaker to maintain harmony. Example, in ancient times, communities would cast out those believed to bring misfortune. Catch out, meaning, to expose or reveal someone's mistake or deception. Example, the clever interviewer managed to catch out the candidate in a lie. Example, the journalist's thorough investigation caught out the corrupt practices. Chalk out, meaning, to plan or outline something. Example, before starting the project, they decided to chalk out the key milestones. Example, it's essential to chalk out a clear strategy for achieving long-term goals. Cheat out of, meaning, to deceive or swindle someone out of something. Example, the scam artist managed to cheat several people out of their life savings. Example, be cautious to avoid schemes that could cheat you out of your hard-earned money. Check out, meaning, to investigate or examine something thoroughly. Example, the detective decided to check out the suspicious activity in the area. Example, it's important to check out the details before making a significant decision. Check out of. Meaning, to complete the necessary procedures for departure from a place. Example, before leaving the hotel, make sure to check out of your room at the front desk. Example, passengers are reminded to check out of their rooms before leaving the cruise ship. Chew out. Meaning, to reprimand or scold someone severely. Example, the coach decided to chew out the team for their lack of effort during the game. Example, the manager had to chew out the employee for repeatedly missing deadlines. Chicken out. Meaning, to decide not to do something due to fear or lack of courage. Example, he planned to go skydiving, but he chickened out at the last minute. Example, don't chicken out, facing challenges helps you grow and overcome fears. Chill out. Meaning, to relax or calm down. Example, after a busy day, it's essential to chill out and unwind. Example, instead of stressing over small things, take a moment to chill out. Choke out. Meaning, to force someone or something to surrender or succumb. Example, the tight defense strategy aimed to choke out the opposing team's offense. Example, economic sanctions were implemented to choke out the illegal trade. Chuck out. Meaning, to throw away or discard. Example, he had to chuck out the old furniture to make space for the new pieces. Example, make sure to chuck out expired food from the refrigerator regularly. Churn out. Meaning, to produce in large quantities, often rapidly. Example, the factory has the capacity to churn out thousands of units per day. Example, the author's prolific writing ability allows them to churn out multiple books a year. Clean out. Meaning, to remove or empty completely. Example, he decided to clean out the garage, getting rid of unnecessary items. Example, the strong winds managed to clean out the dead leaves from the gutters. Clear out. Meaning, to remove or clean out completely. Example, before moving, they had to clear out the old furniture from the house. Example, it's essential to regularly clear out unnecessary files from your computer. Close out. Meaning, to complete or conclude something, often a business deal. Example, the negotiations took months to close out, but the deal was finally sealed. Example, before the end of the fiscal year, they aim to close out pending projects. Come out. Meaning, to be revealed or disclosed. Example, the truth about the scandal is starting to come out in the media. Example, the results of the investigation will come out during the press conference. Come out in. Meaning, to break out in a rash, sweat, or other visible signs. Example, she tends to come out in hives when exposed to certain allergens. Example, after the workout, he came out in a sweat, indicating a good session. Come out of. Meaning, to recover or emerge from a situation. Example, the economy is slowly coming out of the recession. Example, despite setbacks, individuals can come out of challenging times stronger. Come out with. Meaning, to release or publish something. Example, the company plans to come out with a new product line next month. Example, the author is expected to come out with a sequel to the best-selling novel. Conk out. Meaning, to suddenly stop working or functioning. Example, the old computer conked out, and they had to invest in a new one. Example, the car conked out on the highway, leading to an unexpected delay. Contract out. Meaning, to hire external or contracted services. Example, the company decided to contract out the IT support services for cost efficiency. Example, instead of hiring a full-time designer, they opted to contract out specific projects. Contract out of. Meaning, to exclude or decline participation in something. Example, the employee had the option to contract out of certain benefits offered by the company. Example, it's important to carefully review the terms before deciding to contract out of any agreement. Cop out. Meaning, to avoid responsibility or commitment. Example, don't cop out, take responsibility for your actions and make amends. Example, he decided to cop out of the challenging project, leaving the team in a difficult situation. Count out. Meaning, to exclude or disregard someone or something. Example, it's unfair to count out a candidate based solely on one mistake. Example, don't count out the possibility of success even when facing initial setbacks. Crash out. Meaning, to fall asleep suddenly or experience a system failure. Example, after a long day, he crashed out on the couch without realizing it. Example, the computer crashed out due to a sudden power outage. Creep out. Meaning, to cause discomfort or unease. Example, the eerie silence in the abandoned house began to creep out the explorers. Example, his strange behavior during the conversation started to creep her out. Creep out on. Meaning, to betray or cheat on a partner. Example, discovering that he had been creeping out on her was devastating. Example, trust is crucial in a relationship, otherwise, one might be tempted to creep out on the other. Cross out. Meaning, to draw a line through or cancel something in writing. Example, he decided to cross out the incorrect information and write the correct details. Example, mistakes on the document were crossed out to avoid confusion. Cry out. Meaning, to shout or express loudly. Example, the crowd began to cry out in excitement as the performer took the stage. Example, in times of distress, people tend to cry out for help. Cut it out. Meaning, an expression meaning to stop doing something annoying. Example, if the teasing continues, I'll have to tell them to cut it out. Example, the constant noise made her finally say, "Cut it out, please." Cut out. Meaning, to remove or eliminate. Example, it's time to cut out unhealthy snacks and focus on a balanced diet. Example, the editor decided to cut out unnecessary scenes to improve the flow of the movie. Cut out on. Meaning, to abandon or leave abruptly. Example, he chose to cut out on the project without providing any explanation. Example, friends shouldn't cut out on each other during challenging times. Die out. Meaning, to become extinct or no longer exist. Example, some ancient civilizations mysteriously died out, leaving only traces of their existence. Example, the traditional practice seemed to die out as modern methods became prevalent. Dig out. Meaning, to retrieve or extract from a storage place. Example, it took some time to dig out the old photographs from the attic. Example, when moving, people often need to dig out items they haven't used in years. Dine out. Meaning, to eat a meal at a restaurant or away from home. Example, let's dine out tonight and try that new restaurant downtown. Example, after a long week, it's a treat to dine out and enjoy someone else's cooking. Dine out on. Meaning, to boast or derive enjoyment from a past experience. Example, he loves to dine out on stories of his adventurous travels around the world. Example, Successful entrepreneurs often dine out on their early struggles and triumphs. Dip out. Meaning, to leave or exit quickly and briefly. Example, he had to dip out of the meeting to take an urgent phone call. Example, if you need to dip out early, just let me know in advance. Dish out. Meaning, to distribute or serve something. Example, the chef was ready to dish out the delicious meals to the hungry customers. Example, the teacher began to dish out the assignments for the upcoming project. Divvy out. Meaning, to distribute or allocate something among a group. Example, the manager will divvy out the bonuses based on individual performance. Example, it's important to divvy out resources fairly to maintain team morale. Do out of. Meaning, to deprive or prevent someone from having something. Example, unfair practices should not be allowed to do employees out of rightful benefits. Example, being disqualified from the competition did her out of the chance to showcase her skills. Dole out. Meaning, to distribute or give out in small quantities. Example, the teacher began to dole out textbooks to the students for the semester. Example, the charity aimed to dole out food and supplies to those in need. Draw out. Meaning, to extend or prolong a situation or conversation. Example, the speaker tended to draw out each point, making the presentation lengthy. Example, it's important not to draw out negotiations unnecessarily to reach a timely agreement. Drive out. Meaning, to expel or force something or someone to leave. Example, efforts to preserve wildlife habitats aim to drive out invasive species. Example, the community united to drive out crime and create a safer neighborhood. Drop out. Meaning, to withdraw or quit from a commitment, course, or activity. Example, despite initial enthusiasm, she decided to drop out of the challenging class. Example, some entrepreneurs faced with challenges may choose to drop out of the startup scene. Drown out. Meaning, to make a sound or noise difficult to hear due to its intensity. Example, the loud music from the neighboring party threatened to drown out our conversation. Example, the roaring thunderstorm was powerful enough to drown out the television. Drum out. Meaning, to expel or dismiss someone from a group or organization. Example, the unethical behavior led the board to drum the dishonest executive out of the company. Example, military personnel who violate codes of conduct can be drummed out of the service. dry out. Meaning, to remove moisture or become free from alcohol or substance addiction. Example, after the flood, the homeowners had to dry out their damp belongings. Example, some individuals may need professional help to dry out and overcome addiction. Duck out of. Meaning, to avoid or evade something, often a responsibility or commitment. Example, he tried to duck out of attending the meeting by feigning an urgent task. Example, it's not fair to duck out of your responsibilities when the team is counting on you. Eat out. Meaning, to dine at a restaurant or away from home. Example, it's a special occasion, so let's eat out and enjoy a nice meal at a restaurant. Example, some people prefer to eat out regularly to experience a variety of cuisines. Edge out. Meaning, to surpass or narrowly defeat someone or something. Example, the underdog team managed to edge out the favored opponents in a close match. Example, innovation and creativity can help a product edge out competitors in the market. Eke out. Meaning, to obtain or achieve something with great effort or difficulty. Example, in tough times, families may have to eke out a living with limited resources. Example, the small business owner worked hard to eke out a profit during the challenging year. Empty out. Meaning, to become or make something devoid of contents or occupants. Example, as the event concluded, the venue began to empty out as attendees left. Example, during renovations, the building had to be emptied out for construction work. Fall out. Meaning, to have a disagreement or conflict with someone. Example, friends may occasionally fall out over misunderstandings, but true friendships endure. Example, it's essential to address conflicts promptly to prevent relationships from falling out irreparably. Farm out. Meaning, to outsource or delegate work to external parties. Example, companies often farm out specific tasks to specialized contractors for efficiency. Example, small businesses may choose to farm out tasks like payroll to focus on core operations. Fathom out. Meaning, to understand or comprehend something, often complex or mysterious. Example, the detective tried to fathom out the motives behind the perplexing crime. Example, it may take time to fathom out the intricacies of a new software system. Ferret out. Meaning, to uncover or discover something through persistent investigation. Example, journalists often ferret out information to expose corruption or wrongdoing. Example, detectives had to ferret out clues to solve the mysterious disappearance case. Fight it out. Meaning, to resolve a dispute or conflict through confrontation or competition. Example, instead of harboring resentment, they decided to fight it out in an open and honest discussion. Example, in competitive sports, teams often fight it out on the field to determine the winner. Figure out. Meaning, to understand or solve a problem through reasoning or analysis. Example, it may take some time, but with perseverance, you can figure out the solution. Example, solving complex puzzles requires patience and the ability to figure out patterns. Fill out. Meaning, to complete a form by providing necessary information. Example, students were instructed to fill out the survey to provide feedback on the course. Example, job applicants need to carefully fill out the application form to be considered for the position. Filter out. Meaning, to remove or exclude by passing through a filter. Example, the water filtration system helps filter out impurities, providing clean drinking water. Example, noise-canceling headphones are designed to filter out background sounds for a better listening experience. Find out. Meaning, to discover or obtain information. Example, the detective worked diligently to find out the truth behind the mysterious disappearance. Example, researchers conducted experiments to find out the effects of the new drug on patients. Think out. Meaning, to fail or back out of a commitment or responsibility. Example, some participants may think out at the last minute, affecting event planning. Example, dependability is crucial in professional settings to ensure no one thinks out on important tasks. Fish out. Meaning, to extract or retrieve something, often from a container or a difficult situation. Example, using a net, the fisherman managed to fish out several colorful fish from the pond. Example, it took a while, but she was finally able to fish out the lost key from the couch cushions. Fit out. Meaning, to equip or furnish a space with necessary items or equipment. Example, the company decided to fit out the new office with modern furniture and state-of-the-art technology. Example, a well-fitted-out kitchen enhances efficiency and makes cooking a more enjoyable experience. Fit out with. Meaning, to provide or equip someone or something with specific features or accessories. Example, the car enthusiast decided to fit out the classic vehicle with a powerful audio system. Example, the astronaut suit was fitted out with advanced technology to withstand the harsh conditions of space. Fizzle out. Meaning, to gradually lose strength or enthusiasm and come to an end. Example, despite initial excitement, the marketing campaign began to fizzle out over time. Example, friendships may fizzle out if both parties don't make an effort to maintain the connection. Flake out. Meaning, to collapse or lose energy due to exhaustion or fatigue. Example, after a long day of hiking, the group decided to flake out on the comfortable cabin beds. Example, strenuous workouts can cause individuals to flake out if they don't allow adequate time for recovery. Flame out. Meaning, to extinguish suddenly or fail spectacularly, often in the context of a fire or engine. Example, the fireworks display ended with the grand finale as the colorful sparks began to flame out. Example, the aircraft experienced engine trouble, causing it to flame out and make an emergency landing. Flare out. Meaning, to spread outward or increase rapidly, often in size or intensity. Example, the dancer's dress was designed to flare out dramatically during the final performance. Example, economic indicators suggested that inflation might flare out in the coming months. Flesh out. Meaning, to add details or substance to something, making it more complete. Example, the author worked diligently to flesh out the characters in the novel, giving them depth. Example, before presenting the proposal, the team needed to flesh out the key points for clarity. Flip out. Meaning, to react with extreme excitement, surprise, or anger. Example, when she saw the surprise birthday party, she couldn't help but flip out with joy. Example, it's important to remain calm in stressful situations rather than flipping out with frustration. Flounce out. Meaning, to leave a place or situation suddenly, often in a dramatic or annoyed manner. Example, she flounced out of the meeting, displeased with the lack of consideration for her ideas. Example, quitting a job without notice can give the impression of flouncing out without professionalism. Fluff out. Meaning, to make something fuller or puffier, often by shaking or arranging. Example, before the photo shoot, the stylist worked to fluff out the model's hair for added volume. Example, pillows may need occasional fluffing out to maintain their shape and comfort. Freak out. Meaning, to react with extreme anxiety, fear, or panic. Example, some people tend to freak out when faced with unexpected situations or challenges. Example, it's important to stay calm and avoid the tendency to freak out during stressful moments. Freeze out. Meaning, to exclude or isolate someone socially or professionally. Example, in competitive industries, it's unfortunate when colleagues freeze out others due to rivalry. Example, the team made a conscious effort not to freeze out any member during collaborative projects. Front out. Meaning, to face or confront a situation without fear or hesitation. Example, in times of crisis, leaders must front out challenges and make tough decisions for the benefit of their teams. Example, facing adversity with resilience allows individuals to front out difficulties and emerge stronger. Geek out. Meaning, to become intensely passionate or excited about a specific subject or activity. Example, technology enthusiasts tend to geek out when discussing the latest advancements in their field. Example, movie buffs may geek out over classic films, analyzing scenes and trivia in great detail. Get out. Meaning, to exit or leave a place. Example, in case of an emergency, it's crucial to know the exits and how to get out safely. Example, after a productive meeting, attendees may quickly get out of the conference room to continue with their tasks. Get out of. Meaning, to avoid or escape from a situation or responsibility. Example, some individuals may attempt to find excuses to get out of attending social events. Example, students should avoid trying to get out of assignments and instead approach them as opportunities for learning. Get out. Meaning, to command someone to leave or stop doing something forcefully. Example, security personnel may use a firm get out when dealing with unauthorized individuals on private property. Example, parents may resort to a stern get out if they find their children engaging in unsafe or inappropriate behavior. Give out. Meaning, to distribute or hand out items. Example, during events, organizers give out pamphlets and brochures to provide information to attendees. Example, volunteers tirelessly give out food and supplies to those affected by natural disasters. Go out. Meaning, to leave one's residence or a place for social or recreational activities. Example, friends may go out for dinner to catch up and enjoy each other's company. Example, couples often go out on romantic dates to nurture their relationships and create memorable experiences. Go out for. Meaning, to participate in auditions or tryouts for a particular role or position. Example, aspiring actors may go out for various roles in theater productions to showcase their talents. Example, students with athletic skills may go out for school sports teams to represent their schools in competitions. Go out to. Meaning, to visit a restaurant, cafe, or entertainment venue for leisure or socializing. Example, families may go out to celebrate special occasions at their favorite restaurants. Example, friends often go out to coffee shops to enjoy casual conversations and a relaxed atmosphere. Go out with. Meaning, to date or be romantically involved with someone. Example, couples may go out with each other to explore shared interests and strengthen their connection. Example, when friends go out with someone new, they often share their experiences and impressions with each other. Gray out. Meaning, to become less clear or visible, often in the context of visual perception. Example, in certain video games, characters may gray out when they are low on health, indicating vulnerability. Example, when receiving overwhelming information, individuals may experience moments where details gray out, making it challenging to focus. Grind out. Meaning, to produce or accomplish through persistent effort, often with a sense of monotony. Example, authors need to grind out chapters to complete a book, maintaining discipline and creativity. Example, in manufacturing, factories grind out products in large quantities to meet consumer demands. Grow out. Meaning, to allow something to grow longer or fuller. Example, individuals growing out their hair may experience awkward stages before achieving their desired length. Example, gardeners may choose to grow out specific plants to observe their natural growth patterns and characteristics. Grow out of. Meaning, to no longer fit or be suitable due to growth or changes. Example, children often grow out of their clothes quickly, prompting parents to buy larger sizes regularly. Example, interests and hobbies that once defined an individual may be outgrown as new passions and pursuits emerge. Hammer out. Meaning, to negotiate or settle differences through discussion and compromise. Example, diplomats from different nations engage in lengthy negotiations to hammer out agreements on international issues. Example, business partners may need to hammer out contractual details to ensure a fair and mutually beneficial collaboration. Handout. Meaning, to distribute or give something to people. Example, during events, organizers hand out pamphlets and informational materials to attendees. Example, charitable organizations often hand out food and supplies to those in need during community outreach programs. Hang out. Meaning, to spend time together in a casual or relaxed manner. Example, friends may plan to hang out on weekends, enjoying each other's company through various activities. Example, colleagues might decide to hang out after work, fostering a positive work-life balance and team camaraderie. Hang out for. Meaning, to wait or linger in anticipation of something. Example, fans may hang out for hours before a concert, eager to secure the best spots near the stage. Example, job applicants often hang out for a response after interviews, hoping for positive news about their application. Have it out with. Meaning, to confront or resolve a conflict through open and honest communication. Example, friends who have misunderstandings should have it out with each other to maintain a healthy and supportive relationship. Example, in professional settings, it's beneficial for colleagues to have it out with each other, addressing concerns and working towards resolutions. Head out. Meaning, to leave or depart, often for a specific destination. Example, families may head out on vacations to explore new places and create lasting memories together. Example, after completing their work for the day, employees typically head out to relax and enjoy their free time. Hear out. Meaning, to listen to someone's perspective, concerns, or explanation without interruption. Example, effective communication requires actively hearing out others, allowing for a more comprehensive understanding of different viewpoints. Example, in conflicts, it's essential to hear out both parties involved to facilitate a fair and just resolution. Help out. Meaning, to assist or provide support to someone. Example, good neighbors often help out each other with tasks like watering plants, collecting mail, or shoveling snow during winter. Example, in team projects, members collaborate to help out colleagues who may be facing challenges or tight deadlines. Hide out. Meaning, similar to hide away, to stay in a hidden or remote location to avoid detection. Example, fugitives may choose to hide out in secluded areas to evade authorities during a manhunt. Example, adventurous travelers might decide to hide out in remote destinations to experience nature and solitude. Hit out at. Meaning, to criticize or express disapproval of someone or something. Example, public figures may face scrutiny when individuals hit out at them for controversial statements or actions. Example, constructive feedback is more effective than hitting out at colleagues, as it promotes a positive work environment and continuous improvement. Hold out. Meaning, to endure or resist pressure, challenges, or difficulties. Example, resilient individuals can hold out against adversity, emerging stronger and more determined. Example, negotiators may hold out for favorable terms, emphasizing the importance of patience and strategic decision-making. Hold out against. Meaning, similar to hold out, to endure or resist pressure, challenges, or difficulties, often specific to a situation or opponent. Example, in sports, teams may hold out against formidable opponents, showcasing determination and strategic gameplay. Example, communities may hold out against external pressures to preserve cultural traditions and values. Hold out for. Meaning, to insist on obtaining or achieving a specific outcome, often related to negotiations. Example, buyers may hold out for competitive prices when negotiating with sellers in real estate transactions. Example, employees negotiating contracts may hold out for fair compensation and benefits that align with their skills and contributions. Hold out on. Meaning, to withhold information, resources, or assistance from someone. Example, in collaborative projects, transparency is crucial, and team members should avoid holding out on each other to ensure successful outcomes. Example, leaders should create environments where employees feel comfortable sharing ideas and information, preventing a culture of holding out on crucial details. Hound out. Meaning, to persistently harass or pressure someone until they leave a particular situation or place. Example, workplace bullying can hound out talented employees, leading to a loss of valuable skills and expertise within the organization. Example, in cases of online harassment, individuals may feel forced to deactivate their social media accounts to escape being hounded out by cyberbullies. Hunt out. Meaning, to search for and locate something or someone. Example, archaeologists carefully hunt out artifacts buried beneath layers of soil to uncover insights into historical civilizations. Example, when organizing a cluttered space, individuals often hunt out specific items, reorganizing to enhance efficiency and accessibility. Iron out. Meaning, to resolve or smooth out difficulties or disagreements. Example, diplomats engage in negotiations to iron out differences and reach agreements that benefit all parties involved. Example, in collaborative projects, team members hold meetings to iron out logistical challenges and ensure seamless execution. Keep out. Meaning, to prevent entry or access. Example, security measures such as locks and alarms are installed to keep out unauthorized individuals and protect properties. Example, clear signage and barriers are used to keep out visitors from restricted or hazardous areas in public spaces. Kick out. Meaning, to force someone to leave or expel them from a place or group. Example, If disruptive behavior persists in a classroom, a teacher may need to make the difficult decision to kick out the disruptive student temporarily. Example: in sports, referees have the authority to kick out players who engage in unsportsmanlike conduct or violate the rules. Knockout. Meaning, to defeat or eliminate an opponent or obstacle. Example: boxers aim to knock out their opponents by delivering powerful punches and rendering them unable to continue the match. Example: teams in sports competitions strategize to knock out rival teams and advance to the next rounds of tournaments. Lash out. Meaning, to react angrily or violently, often in response to stress or frustration. Example: when faced with overwhelming pressure, some individuals may lash out at those around them, expressing their frustration without control. Example: it's important to find healthy ways to cope with stress and avoid lashing out at loved ones during challenging times. Lash out against. Meaning, to vehemently oppose or criticize something or someone. Example: activists may lash out against discriminatory policies, advocating for change and justice. Example: public figures may face backlash when they express controversial opinions, with individuals and groups lashing out against their statements. Lash out at. Meaning, similar to lash out, to react angrily or violently towards someone. Example: in moments of intense emotion, individuals may lash out at those closest to them, leading to strained relationships. Example: being under immense pressure can contribute to stress, causing individuals to lash out at co-workers or family members unintentionally. Lash out on. Meaning, to spend a significant amount of money on something, often impulsively or extravagantly. Example: during a shopping spree, some individuals may lash out on luxury items, temporarily indulging in retail therapy. Example: celebrating a milestone or achievement, people might lash out on a special treat or experience to mark the occasion. Layout. Meaning, to present or arrange something systematically, to explain or detail. Example: designers may lay out a magazine with visually appealing layouts and carefully selected images to capture readers' attention. Example: before starting a project, it's essential to lay out a clear plan, outlining tasks, timelines, and goals for efficient execution. Leak out. Meaning, to become known or be disclosed gradually, often unintentionally. Example: confidential information may leak out if not handled with care, potentially leading to trust issues and legal consequences. Example: news about upcoming product releases may intentionally leak out to generate buzz and anticipation among consumers. Leap out at. Meaning, to be easily noticeable or impressive. Example, the vibrant colors of the artwork leaped out at visitors, capturing their attention as soon as they entered the gallery. Example, the unexpected twist in the story leaped out at readers, leaving them shocked and intrigued. Leave out. Meaning, to omit or exclude someone or something. Example, the report unintentionally left out crucial data, leading to a re-evaluation of the study's findings. Example, it's important not to leave out any details when providing instructions to ensure clarity and successful execution. Let out. Meaning, to release or allow to escape, to set free. Example, students eagerly anticipate the school bell that will let out for the day, signaling the start of their free time. Example, a sigh of relief let out by the audience signaled the successful resolution of the tense movie scene. Level out. Meaning, similar to level off, to stabilize or become even. Example, the distribution of resources within a society should aim to level out economic disparities and promote fairness. Example, with proper adjustments, a bumpy road can be leveled out, ensuring a smoother and safer driving experience. Light out. Meaning, to leave quickly or hastily, especially to avoid detection or responsibility. Example, when the unexpected guests arrived, the mischievous cat decided to light out and find a cozy hiding spot. Example, some adventurers prefer to light out on spontaneous road trips, exploring new destinations without detailed plans. Listen out for. Meaning, to pay attention in order to hear or notice something specific. Example, during the nature walk, participants were encouraged to listen out for the sounds of birds and rustling leaves. Example, parents listen out for their children's laughter, a reassuring signal that they are playing happily and safely. Live out. Meaning, to experience or act in accordance with a particular lifestyle or role. Example, many individuals dream of living out their passion, turning it into a career that brings fulfillment and purpose. Example, characters in novels often live out complex storylines, facing challenges and growth throughout the narrative. Lockout. Meaning, to prevent entry or access, to exclude or restrict someone from a place or activity. Example, after forgetting his keys, he found himself locked out of his own apartment, waiting for a locksmith. Example, the company decided to lock out employees from certain sensitive areas to maintain confidentiality during a product launch. Log out. Meaning, similar to log off, to exit or sign out of a computer system or online platform. Example, before leaving a public computer, individuals should log out of their accounts to prevent unauthorized access to their information. Example: participants were reminded to log out after the virtual meeting to ensure the security of the online session. Lookout. Meaning, to be cautious or vigilant, to watch for potential dangers. Example: while crossing the street, pedestrians are advised to look out for oncoming traffic to ensure safe passage. Example: campers should look out for signs of wildlife and take precautions to store food securely to avoid attracting animals. Look out for. Meaning, similar to look out, to be vigilant and watch for something specific. Example: when hiking in the wilderness, it's essential to look out for trail markers to stay on the correct path. Example: parents look out for signs of illness in their children, taking prompt action to address any health concerns. Lose out. Meaning, to experience a loss or miss out on an opportunity. Example: despite putting in a strong effort, the team unfortunately had to lose out in the final moments of the game. Example: job applicants may lose out on opportunities if they don't tailor their resumes to match the specific requirements of a position. Lose out to. Meaning, to be defeated or surpassed by someone or something. Example: the local business lost out to a larger chain store that offered lower prices and a wider selection of products. Example: in the competitive market, companies that fail to innovate may lose out to more agile and adaptive competitors. Luck out. Meaning, to have good luck or fortune, to experience a positive outcome unexpectedly. Example: we lucked out with the weather on our outdoor event, as the rain held off, allowing everyone to enjoy the activities. Example: winning the lottery was a significant instance of lucking out, providing unexpected financial freedom. Make out. Meaning, to understand or perceive something, to see or hear something with difficulty. Example: in the dim light, it was challenging to make out the details of the mysterious figure in the distance. Example: despite the loud background noise, she tried to make out what the speaker was saying during the public lecture. Mark out. Meaning, to define or designate specific areas, boundaries, or features. Example: the architect marked out the dimensions of the future building on the construction site using stakes and bright paint. Example: in preparation for the event, organizers marked out the designated zones for different activities to ensure a smooth flow of participants. Mark out for. Meaning, to distinguish or identify someone as having specific qualities or potential. Example: the talented athlete was marked out for success from a young age, displaying exceptional skills and dedication to their sport. Example: Teachers often aim to recognize and mark out students with exceptional abilities to provide them with additional support and opportunities. Mark out from. Meaning, to distinguish or set apart from others based on characteristics or qualities. Example, the unique design and innovative features marked the product out from its competitors in the market. Example, the exceptional customer service experience helped the business mark out from others in the industry, earning a loyal customer base. Marry out. Meaning, to leave or become detached from a particular family or social group through marriage. Example, while some families may encourage their members to marry out for diversity, others may prefer to keep traditions within the community. Example, the decision to marry out can lead to new cultural experiences and connections beyond one's immediate social circle. Max out. Meaning, to reach the maximum limit or capacity of something. Example, fitness enthusiasts push themselves to max out their performance during high-intensity workouts. Example, credit card holders should be cautious not to max out their cards, as it can negatively impact their credit score and financial stability. Measure out. Meaning, to dispense or portion out a specific quantity, usually using a measuring tool. Example, the chef carefully measured out the ingredients to ensure the precise balance of flavors in the recipe. Example, pharmacists must measure out medications accurately to provide patients with the correct dosage prescribed by healthcare professionals. Mete out. Meaning, to distribute or administer, often in a measured or calculated manner. Example, the judge meted out a fair punishment based on the severity of the crime and the defendant's past behavior. Example, the coach decided to mete out consequences for the players who violated team rules during the away game. Miss out. Meaning, to fail to experience or take advantage of an opportunity. Example, if you decide not to attend the workshop, you'll miss out on valuable insights from industry experts. Example, don't miss out on the chance to explore new cultures while traveling, it's an enriching experience. Miss out on. Meaning, to fail to experience or take advantage of an opportunity related to a specific thing or activity. Example, if you skip the training sessions, you'll miss out on important techniques and skills that could enhance your performance. Example, some students regret missing out on internships during their college years, as it can impact future career opportunities. Move out. Meaning, to leave a residence or location. Example, college students typically move out of their dormitories at the end of the academic year, returning home or finding new accommodations. Example, Renters are advised to give proper notice to landlords before deciding to move out to avoid complications and uphold contractual agreements. Muscle out. Meaning, to force someone or something out, often by using strength or influence. Example, the powerful conglomerate aimed to muscle out smaller businesses in the industry through aggressive tactics and acquisitions. Example, in competitive industries, companies may attempt to muscle out rivals by offering better incentives and services to attract customers. Nerd out. Meaning, to enthusiastically engage in, discuss, or pursue a topic, typically one considered geeky or niche. Example, fans of science fiction often nerd out during conventions, sharing their passion for the genre with like-minded enthusiasts. Example, it's okay to nerd out about your hobbies and interests, as it can lead to meaningful connections with others who share similar passions. Nip out. Meaning, similar to nip off, to leave or depart quickly, often for a short period. Example, she mentioned that she needed to nip out to run a quick errand and would be back shortly. Example, feel free to nip out for a break if you need some fresh air, we'll continue the discussion when you return. Nose out. Meaning, to discover or find something, especially after searching or investigating. Example, the detective worked tirelessly to nose out the truth behind the mysterious disappearance. Example, despite initial challenges, the researcher managed to nose out valuable information that contributed to the success of the project. Nut out. Meaning, to resolve or figure out a problem or complex situation. Example, the team gathered to nut out the challenges they were facing in the project and collaboratively developed solutions. Example, when facing obstacles, it's essential to communicate openly and work together to nut out viable strategies for overcoming difficulties. Opt out. Meaning, to choose not to participate or subscribe to a particular service, program, or communication. Example, online platforms often allow users to opt out of targeted advertising to maintain privacy and reduce data tracking. Example, participants who prefer not to share their camera feed during the video call can easily opt out to maintain privacy. Pack out. Meaning, to bring all items or belongings outside of a place, typically for removal or relocation. Example, when moving to a new apartment, they work together to pack out their belongings and transport them to the new location. Example, after the event, the cleanup crew efficiently packed out the equipment and decorations to restore the venue to its original state. Pad out. Meaning, to extend or expand something, typically by adding extra material or content. Example, the author decided to pad out the novel by introducing additional characters and subplots to enhance the overall narrative. Example: presenters may pad out their presentations with relevant examples and anecdotes to provide a more comprehensive understanding for the audience. Pan out. Meaning: to unfold or develop in a particular way, to result in a specific outcome. Example: the initial plan seemed ambitious, but with dedication and effort, it began to pan out successfully. Example: it's hard to predict how a situation will pan out, but staying adaptable can lead to positive outcomes. Pass out. Meaning: to lose consciousness or faint. Example: the heat during the outdoor event caused some attendees to pass out, prompting organizers to provide water and shade. Example: if you start to feel lightheaded, it's essential to sit down and take a break to avoid passing out. Peel out. Meaning: to accelerate quickly, causing tires to spin and make a screeching sound. Example: the car enthusiast revved the engine and prepared to peel out, leaving tire marks on the pavement. Example: he couldn't resist the urge to peel out of the parking lot, eliciting cheers from friends who enjoyed the display of speed. Peg out. Meaning: to secure or mark an area using pegs. In some contexts, it can refer to death or a cessation of activity. Example: before building the fence, they needed to peg out the boundaries to ensure accuracy. Example: after a long and fulfilling life, the elderly gardener peacefully pegged out, leaving behind a legacy of beautiful landscapes. Peter out. Meaning: to gradually diminish or dwindle, often used to describe the fading or depletion of something. Example: the river's flow began to peter out as it reached the dry season, leaving behind smaller streams and pools. Example: despite the initial excitement, the project's momentum started to peter out due to a lack of resources and support. Phase out. Meaning: similar to phase in, to gradually discontinue or replace something over time. Example: as technology evolves, companies often decide to phase out outdated products and introduce newer, more advanced versions. Example: the decision to phase out certain environmentally harmful practices contributed to a positive impact on the ecosystem. Pick out. Meaning: to choose or select something from a group or assortment. Example: with a vast array of colors, she struggled to pick out the perfect shade for the living room walls. Example: the chef asked the assistant to pick out the freshest produce for that day's menu. Pig out. Meaning: similar to pig off, to indulge in excessive eating or consuming large quantities of food. Example: on holidays, It's common for people to pig out on festive meals and treats, savoring the unique flavors of the season. Example, stressful periods may lead individuals to pig out on comfort foods, seeking a temporary escape from challenges. Pile out. Meaning, to exit or disperse in large numbers. Example, after the concert ended, the audience began to pile out of the venue, sharing their excitement and impressions. Example, when the school bell rang, students eagerly piled out of the classrooms, ready for the upcoming break. Pit out. Meaning, to complete a pit stop during a race, typically involving refueling and tire changes. Example, racing teams strategize when to pit out during a race, aiming for optimal timing to maintain a competitive edge. Example, pit crews play a crucial role in ensuring a smooth and efficient pit out process, contributing to the overall success of a racing team. Plant out. Meaning, to transplant seedlings or plants from pots or containers into the ground or another growing medium. Example, after nurturing the seedlings indoors, it was time to plant them out in the garden to allow for further growth. Example, experienced gardeners know the optimal conditions for planting out delicate flowers to ensure successful adaptation to the outdoor environment. Play out. Meaning, to unfold or occur, often as a series of events or developments. Example, the real estate market situation continued to play out, affecting property values and influencing buyer behavior. Example, the novel's plot began to play out with unexpected twists and turns, keeping readers eagerly turning the pages. Plead out. Meaning, in legal contexts, to enter a plea, typically a guilty plea, as part of a legal proceeding. Example, faced with overwhelming evidence, the defendant chose to plead out, hoping for a more lenient sentence through cooperation. Example, the defense attorney advised the client to carefully consider the implications before deciding whether to plead out in the courtroom. Point out. Meaning, to bring attention to or indicate something, often by gesturing or verbally expressing. Example, during the presentation, the speaker took a moment to point out the key features of the new product using visual aids. Example, it's important to point out potential safety hazards in the workplace to ensure a secure and healthy environment for employees. Poop out. Meaning, to become exhausted or fatigued, often resulting in a lack of energy or motivation. Example, after a day of intense physical activity, it's normal to feel pooped out and in need of rest and relaxation. Example, long workdays can leave individuals feeling mentally pooped out, requiring adequate breaks and self-care to recharge. Poop out on. Meaning, to disappoint or fail to meet expectations, often at a crucial moment. Example, the old car unexpectedly pooped out on the highway, leaving its owner stranded until assistance arrived. Example, it's frustrating when electronic devices decide to poop out on important occasions, emphasizing the need for regular maintenance. Pop out. Meaning, to exit or emerge quickly or suddenly. Example, the clever magician managed to make a rabbit pop out of the seemingly empty hat, delighting the audience. Example, as soon as the elevator doors opened, passengers began to pop out, eager to reach their respective floors. Print out. Meaning, to produce a hard copy of a digital document or image using a printer. Example, after finishing the report, she chose to print out several copies for distribution during the team meeting. Example, the photographer was pleased with the quality of the digital image and decided to print it out for framing and display. Psych out. Meaning, to intimidate, confuse, or mentally disrupt an opponent or competitor, often in a competitive context. Example, in sports, athletes may attempt to psych out their opponents through strategic mind games or psychological tactics. Example, the chess player's intense focus and unpredictable moves were designed to psych out the opponent and create a strategic advantage. Pull out. Meaning, to withdraw or remove, often from a particular situation or location. Example, due to financial difficulties, the company made the tough decision to pull out of the international market and focus on domestic operations. Example, the military commander ordered troops to pull out of the contested region to de-escalate tensions and avoid further conflict. Put out. Meaning, to extinguish a fire or make something stop burning. Example, the firefighters worked diligently to put out the raging wildfire that threatened the forest. Example, she accidentally knocked over a candle, and it took a few minutes to put it out before any damage occurred. Quarrel out. Meaning, to resolve or settle a quarrel or dispute through discussion or communication. Example, instead of escalating the argument, the couple chose to quarrel out their differences, finding a compromise that worked for both. Example, workplace conflicts can be effectively quarreled out through open communication and the involvement of a mediator. Rack out. Meaning, to go to sleep or take a nap, especially in a casual or informal setting. Example, after a long day of hiking, they found a comfortable spot to rack out and recharge before continuing their journey. Example, during the camping trip, participants were encouraged to rack out early to ensure they were well rested for the next day's activities. Rain out. Meaning, similar to rain off, referring to the cancellation or disruption of an event due to rain. Example, the baseball game was rain out, disappointing fans who had eagerly anticipated the match between rival teams. Example, the organizers decided to rain out the outdoor festival to prioritize the safety and comfort of attendees in adverse weather conditions. Rap out. Meaning, to express or state something quickly and forcefully, often in the context of issuing a directive. Example, the manager decided to rap out clear instructions to the team, emphasizing the importance of meeting the upcoming deadline. Example, in urgent situations, it's crucial to rap out commands or information concisely to facilitate a swift and coordinated response. Rat out. Meaning, similar to rat on, referring to informing on or betraying someone. Example, the informant decided to rat out the criminal organization, providing crucial information to law enforcement agencies. Example, students are encouraged not to rat out their peers for minor infractions but to seek constructive ways to address issues within the school community. Reach out. Meaning, to make contact or attempt to communicate with someone. Example, when facing challenges, it's crucial to reach out to friends, family, or professionals for support and guidance. Example, the organization actively encourages individuals to reach out if they have experienced discrimination or harassment in the workplace. Reach out for. Meaning, to extend one's hand or efforts in an attempt to obtain or achieve something. Example, during times of uncertainty, individuals may reach out for new opportunities and explore different paths for personal and professional growth. Example, the aspiring musician decided to reach out for a chance to perform at local venues, hoping to showcase their talent to a wider audience. Reach out to. Meaning, to initiate communication or contact with someone. Example, in the digital age, it's easier than ever to reach out to old friends or acquaintances through social media platforms. Example, nonprofit organizations often reach out to potential donors through targeted campaigns, explaining the impact of their contributions on important causes. Read out. Meaning, to read aloud or announce something, often in a formal or public setting. Example, the professor decided to read out the key points from the textbook to ensure that students had a clear understanding of the material. Example, the CEO read out the company's financial performance during the annual shareholders meeting. Reason out. Meaning, to think logically or reach a conclusion through rational thought. Example, when faced with a complex problem, it's essential to reason out potential solutions and weigh their pros and cons. Example, instead of acting impulsively, it's advisable to take a moment to reason out the consequences of different courses of action. Reel out. Meaning, to release or extend something, often in a controlled manner. Example, the fisherman carefully reeled out the fishing line, patiently waiting for a bite. Example, when decorating a room, it's essential to measure and reel out the wallpaper accurately to achieve a seamless and professional look. Rent out. Meaning, to lease or allow someone to use a property or item in exchange for payment. Example, the homeowners decided to rent out their vacation home to generate additional income when they weren't using it. Example, many people choose to rent out their unused equipment or tools to neighbors, creating a sense of community sharing. Ride out. Meaning, to endure or survive a challenging or difficult situation. Example, the resilient community came together to ride out the aftermath of the natural disaster, rebuilding and supporting each other. Example, during tough economic times, businesses need to make strategic decisions to ride out the downturn and emerge stronger. Ring out. Meaning, to sound loudly or clearly, often referring to bells, alarms, or gunfire. Example, the bells of the cathedral rang out, marking the beginning of the festive season in the city. Example, the alarm clock rang out, signaling the start of a new day and prompting the person to wake up and begin their routine. Root out. Meaning, to discover or eliminate something hidden or undesirable. Example, the investigative journalist worked diligently to root out corruption within the government, exposing unethical practices. Example, in gardening, it's important to root out weeds regularly to maintain the health and appearance of the garden. Rub out. Meaning, to erase or eliminate, often referring to markings, drawings, or writing. Example, the artist decided to rub out the initial sketch and start anew, exploring different concepts for the painting. Example, in the digital age, individuals can easily rub out errors in documents using editing software to maintain professionalism. Rule out. Meaning, to exclude or eliminate as a possibility or option. Example, after a thorough investigation, detectives were able to rule out certain suspects, narrowing down the list of potential perpetrators. Example, when considering solutions to a problem, it's essential to rule out impractical or ineffective options to focus on viable alternatives. Run out of. Meaning, to exhaust the supply of something, often unexpectedly. Example, during the camping trip, they realized they had run out of drinking water and needed to find a nearby water source. Example, it's essential to check household supplies regularly to avoid running out of essential items, such as groceries or toiletries. Rush out. Meaning, to leave or exit quickly, often with a sense of urgency. Example, as the fire alarm sounded, employees were instructed to rush out of the building to ensure everyone's safety. Example, during a concert intermission, attendees often rush out to restrooms or concession stands before the next performance begins. Sally out. Meaning, to venture or rush out suddenly and energetically, often to face a challenge or engage in activity. Example, when the signal was given, the troops sallied out of their positions, advancing boldly into enemy territory. Example, the children eagerly sallied out into the backyard to play after being indoors for most of the day. Scout out. Meaning, to investigate or examine an area thoroughly to gather information. Example, the military unit was assigned to scout out the enemy's positions and report back with essential intelligence for strategic planning. Example, before launching a new business venture, entrepreneurs may choose to scout out the market, assessing competition, and identifying potential challenges. Screen out. Meaning, to exclude or filter out certain elements, often based on specific criteria. Example, job applicants may undergo a screening process to screen out candidates who do not meet the required qualifications or job specifications. Example, effective spam filters are designed to screen out unwanted emails, ensuring that users receive relevant and legitimate messages. See out. Meaning, to remain with someone until the end of a particular situation, event, or period. Example, the dedicated caregiver chose to see out the final days with the elderly patient, providing comfort and support until the end. Example, employees committed to their projects often strive to see out the completion of tasks, ensuring successful outcomes and project closure. Sell out. Meaning, to exhaust the supply of a product or tickets, often resulting in high demand. Example, the popular concert quickly sold out, leaving many fans disappointed as they were unable to secure tickets for the event. Example, successful product launches may sell out rapidly, prompting companies to restock and meet the ongoing demand from consumers. Send out. Meaning, to distribute or dispatch something, often to a group of recipients. Example, companies regularly send out newsletters to keep customers informed about new products, promotions, and industry updates. Example, during election campaigns, political candidates send out campaign materials and messages to reach voters and communicate their platforms. Send out for. Meaning, to order food or other items to be delivered to one's location, often from a restaurant or online service. Example, instead of cooking, they decided to send out for pizza to enjoy a relaxing evening without the hassle of preparing a meal. Example, while working late at the office, the team decided to send out for coffee and snacks to stay energized during the extended work session. Set out. Meaning, to start a journey, task, or course of action. Example, early in the morning, they set out on a hiking adventure, exploring scenic trails and enjoying the beauty of nature. Example, the detailed project plan outlined how the team would set out to achieve specific milestones and deliverables within the given time frame. Shake out. Meaning, to remove dust, wrinkles, or irregularities from fabric, sheets, or clothing by shaking. Example, after laundering, she would shake out the bed sheets to ensure they were free of wrinkles and had a fresh appearance on the bed. Example, before the photo shoot, the model would shake out her clothing to eliminate any creases and present a polished look. Shell out. Meaning, to pay a significant amount of money, often reluctantly or with reluctance. Example, consumers may need to shell out extra cash for premium services or exclusive products that offer additional features or benefits. Example, parents often find themselves shelling out money for various expenses related to their children's education, extracurricular activities, and hobbies. Ship out. Meaning, to leave or depart from a place, often as part of a scheduled departure or military deployment. Example, as the ship prepared to depart from the harbor, passengers and crew members gathered on deck to wave goodbye to those staying behind. Example, soldiers often experience mixed emotions as they ship out, leaving their families and familiar surroundings to fulfill their duties in different regions. Shoot out. Meaning, to discharge or release rapidly, often referring to gunfire or the sudden ejection of objects. Example, the action movie featured intense scenes where characters would shoot out bullets in dramatic gunfights. Example, when the pressure valve was released, steam shot out forcefully, indicating a potential issue with the machinery. Short out. Meaning, to malfunction or fail due to an electrical short circuit. Example, the old wiring in the house caused the appliances to short out, leading to a temporary power outage. Example, using a faulty adapter can cause electronic devices to short out, potentially damaging both the adapter and the device itself. Shout out. Meaning, to express or announce loudly, often to draw attention or convey information. Example, the coach would regularly shout out instructions to the players on the field, guiding them through the game. Example, it's common for fans to shout out the names of their favorite performers during concerts, expressing admiration and support. Show out. Meaning, to escort or accompany someone out of a place, often as a gesture of politeness or assistance. Example, after the event, the host kindly offered to show out the guests, ensuring they safely navigated their way to the exit. Example: it's customary for hosts to show out visitors when they leave, expressing gratitude for their company and providing assistance as needed. Shut out. Meaning, to exclude or prevent someone or something from entering or participating. Example: students who fail to meet the eligibility criteria may face the disappointment of being shut out from certain academic programs or opportunities. Example: in competitive sports, teams strive to shut out their opponents by preventing them from scoring any points or goals during a match. Shut out of. Meaning, to be denied access or participation in a situation or opportunity. Example: despite having the necessary qualifications, some individuals may feel shut out of certain career opportunities due to discrimination or biases. Example: when students fail to meet academic requirements, they risk being shut out of specific courses or programs that require a certain level of proficiency. Sign out. Meaning, to formally record one's departure or exit by signing a register or log. Example: before leaving the premises, visitors are required to sign out at the front desk, ensuring an accurate record of who is present in the building. Example: students attending a library study session need to remember to sign out when they leave to help staff maintain a secure environment. Sign out of. Meaning, to log out or exit from a system, platform, or website by ending the session. Example: it's crucial to sign out of your email and other online accounts when using shared computers to protect your privacy and data security. Example: after completing work on a shared computer, the user should remember to sign out of their accounts to prevent unauthorized access. Sing out. Meaning, to sing loudly or with enthusiasm. Example: the lead singer encouraged the audience to sing out during the chorus, creating a memorable and participatory concert experience. Example: in the church choir, members are encouraged to sing out confidently, contributing to the overall harmonious sound of the ensemble. Single out. Meaning, to select or identify someone or something from a group for special attention or recognition. Example: the teacher decided to single out a student for their outstanding academic achievements, commending them for their dedication and hard work. Example: in team sports, coaches may single out players who demonstrate exceptional skills and dedication, offering them additional training and recognition. Sit out. Meaning, to refrain from participating or not take part in an activity or event. Example: some individuals may choose to sit out a dance at social gatherings, preferring to observe rather than actively participate. Example: due to a minor injury, the athlete had to sit out the championship game, cheering on the team from the sidelines. Slip out. Meaning, to leave discreetly or without drawing attention. Example, after the event, he chose to slip out quietly to avoid lengthy farewells and social obligations. Example, sneaking out of a party, teenagers may attempt to slip out unnoticed by the host and other guests. Smoke out. Meaning, to force someone or something into the open, especially to reveal hidden information or secrets. Example, the investigative journalist worked tirelessly to smoke out the truth behind the corporate scandal, exposing the unethical practices of the company. Example, law enforcement agencies employ various tactics to smoke out criminals who may be hiding in the shadows, aiming to bring them to justice. Snap out of. Meaning, to recover from a negative or unproductive state of mind, attitude, or behavior. Example, friends and family members encouraged him to snap out of his melancholy and take proactive steps toward a more positive outlook on life. Example, after receiving constructive feedback, the employee realized the need to snap out of defensive reactions and focus on personal growth. Sneak out. Meaning, to leave a place quietly or discreetly, especially without being noticed. Example, in the middle of the night, the teenager attempted to sneak out of the house to attend a secret party, hoping to avoid parental restrictions. Example, spies often need to sneak out of secure locations without attracting attention, emphasizing the importance of stealth and secrecy. Sniff out. Meaning, to detect or discover something, especially by using one's senses or intuition. Example, search dogs are trained to sniff out various scents, assisting law enforcement in locating missing persons or detecting illegal substances. Example, exceptional investigators have an ability to sniff out inconsistencies in witness testimonies, uncovering hidden details that contribute to solving cases. Snuff out. Meaning, to extinguish or put out, often referring to flames or life. Example, firefighters worked tirelessly to snuff out the wildfires that threatened communities, aiming to prevent further destruction. Example, the sudden illness threatened to snuff out his dreams of becoming an athlete, but with determination and treatment, he made a remarkable recovery. Sort out. Meaning, to resolve, organize, or arrange in a systematic manner. Example, the project manager convened a meeting to sort out the issues hindering progress, aiming to find effective solutions and move forward. Example, in personal relationships, open communication is crucial to sort out misunderstandings and maintain a healthy connection between individuals. Sound out. Meaning, to seek someone's opinion or test reactions before taking action. Example, before announcing the new policy, the CEO sounded out key stakeholders to gauge their reactions and address potential concerns. Example, teachers often sound out students on their preferred learning styles, creating a more tailored and effective educational environment. Speak out. Meaning, to express one's opinions or concerns boldly and publicly. Example, advocates for social justice often speak out against inequality, using their voices to raise awareness and promote positive change. Example, in democratic societies, citizens have the right to speak out on political issues, contributing to informed public discourse and decision-making. Spell out. Meaning, to explain or describe something in detail, leaving no room for ambiguity. Example, clear communication is essential in contracts, where terms and conditions are spelled out explicitly to avoid misunderstandings between parties. Example, teachers may spell out assignment expectations to students, providing clarity on requirements and grading criteria. Spew out. Meaning, to eject or expel forcefully, often referring to liquids or substances. Example, the volcano began to spew out molten lava, creating a spectacular but dangerous display of natural power. Example, the malfunctioning machine suddenly started to spew out smoke, prompting an evacuation of the premises. Spill out. Meaning, to flow or pour out of a container or confined space. Example, as the dam reached its capacity, water began to spill out, creating downstream flooding concerns. Example, the bag burst, causing beads to spill out onto the floor, requiring a quick cleanup. Spin out. Meaning, to lose control of a vehicle and rotate or spin uncontrollably. Example, the driver hit a patch of ice, causing the car to spin out before coming to a stop. Example, the wet road conditions posed a challenge, and the cyclist nearly spun out while navigating a sharp turn. Spit it out. Meaning, an informal expression urging someone to speak or disclose something quickly. Example, after a long pause, she encouraged her friend to spit it out and share the secret that seemed to be weighing on their mind. Example, in moments of suspense, detectives often use the phrase spit it out to prompt a reluctant witness to reveal crucial information. Spit out. Meaning, to forcefully expel something from the mouth. Example, the child didn't like the taste of the medicine and promptly spit it out, much to the frustration of the parent. Example, during the food tasting challenge, contestants had to sample unusual dishes without the option to spit out any undesirable flavors. Splash out. Meaning, to spend a large amount of money on something, often in a lavish or extravagant manner. Example, In celebration of their anniversary, they decided to splash out on a luxurious weekend getaway at a 5-star resort. Example: winning the lottery inspired her to splash out on a new car and indulge in a few luxury items she had always dreamed of. Splash out on. Meaning: to spend a considerable amount of money on a particular item or experience. Example: parents might choose to splash out on a memorable birthday party for their child, creating lasting memories. Example: when celebrating a major achievement, it's not uncommon for individuals to splash out on a special treat or experience as a reward. Stamp out. Meaning: to eliminate or extinguish something undesirable or harmful. Example: the government launched a campaign to stamp out the spread of misinformation and fake news on social media. Example: local authorities are working tirelessly to stamp out the illegal drug trade in the community. Stand out. Meaning: to be easily noticeable, distinguishable, or exceptional. Example: the bright colors of the flowers made them stand out against the green backdrop of the garden. Example: a well-designed logo should stand out, capturing the attention of potential customers and creating brand recognition. Start out. Meaning: to commence a journey, project, or career. Example: fresh out of college, he decided to start out on a backpacking adventure, exploring various countries and cultures. Example: successful entrepreneurs often start out with a vision and determination, gradually building their businesses over time. Start out as. Meaning: to begin in a particular role or position and develop from that point. Example: many successful actors start out as extras or in minor roles before landing breakthrough opportunities in the entertainment industry. Example: the small software company started out as a garage project, eventually growing into a leading tech firm. Start out to. Meaning: to have a specific goal or intention when initiating an action. Example: she didn't just start out to write a novel, she had a mission to tell a compelling story that would resonate with readers. Example: entrepreneurs often start out to solve a particular problem or address a gap in the market with their innovative products or services. Stay out. Meaning: to remain outside or not enter a place. Example: after a late-night event, she preferred to stay out for a while and enjoy the cool breeze before heading home. Example: the mischievous cat would stay out in the garden for hours, exploring and chasing butterflies. Steal out. Meaning: similar to steal away, indicating a quiet or discreet departure. Example: to avoid disrupting the meeting, she chose to steal out without drawing attention to herself. Example: After finishing his work, he decided to steal out of the office without waiting for the usual end-of-day announcements. Step out. Meaning, to leave or exit a place, especially briefly. Example, she decided to step out for some fresh air during the meeting's break, taking a short stroll around the office building. Example, the actor discreetly stepped out of the theater to avoid the paparazzi waiting outside. Stick out. Meaning, to protrude or extend beyond a surface. Example, the colorful flowers in the garden stick out among the green foliage, creating a vibrant and eye-catching display. Example, it's essential for leaders to stick out in a positive way, inspiring others with their unique qualities and dedication. Stick out for. Meaning, to assertively support or demand something. Example, the workers decided to stick out for better wages and working conditions, participating in a strike to emphasize their demands. Example, when facing an unjust decision, it's important to stick out for what is right and advocate for fairness. Stop out. Meaning, to be absent from home or one's usual place for an evening or night. Example, college students often stop out on weekends, engaging in social activities or visiting friends in nearby cities. Example, parents may inquire about their children's plans when they decide to stop out, ensuring they prioritize safety and responsible behavior. Storm out. Meaning, similar to storm off, indicating a forceful and dramatic departure. Example, the employee, feeling disrespected, decided to storm out of the office, signaling their strong objections to the management's decisions. Example, in a fit of anger, the teenager may storm out of the house, seeking space to cool down and reflect on the situation. Straighten out. Meaning, to resolve or clarify a situation, often involving misunderstandings or confusion. Example, the supervisor held a meeting to straighten out the miscommunication that had led to errors in the project's execution. Example, when dealing with conflicting information, it's essential to straighten out the facts and ensure accurate decision-making. Strike out. Meaning, to fail to achieve a goal or be unsuccessful. Example, despite several attempts, the inventor continued to strike out in creating a working prototype for the new device. Example, baseball batters face the challenge of not striking out and aim to hit the ball successfully. String out. Meaning, to prolong or extend a situation, often unnecessarily. Example, the speaker tended to string out their presentations, using excessive details that didn't contribute to the main message. Example, in negotiations, it's essential not to string out the discussions, focusing on reaching a resolution efficiently. Stub out. Meaning, to extinguish a cigarette or similar object by crushing the burning end. Example, in designated non-smoking areas, individuals are required to stub out their cigarettes in provided ashtrays. Example, the fire safety officer reminded everyone to stub out their cigarettes completely before entering the building. Suss out. Meaning, to investigate or figure out a situation through observation or inquiry. Example, detectives are trained to suss out clues and analyze evidence to solve complex criminal cases. Example, before entering into a business deal, it's crucial to suss out the potential risks and benefits to make informed decisions. Take it out on. Meaning, to vent frustration or anger on someone or something unrelated to the source of frustration. Example, after a stressful day at work, he unfortunately decided to take it out on his family, leading to tension at home. Example, it's essential to find healthy ways to cope with stress and avoid taking it out on others or oneself. Take out. Meaning, to remove or extract, or to purchase food for consumption elsewhere. Example, before starting the construction project, they needed to take out the old foundation to make room for the new one. Example, on busy evenings, many people choose to take out dinner from their favorite restaurants instead of cooking at home. Talk out. Meaning, to discuss thoroughly or resolve a matter through conversation. Example, they needed to talk out their differences and find a compromise to ensure a harmonious working relationship. Example, couples often find it beneficial to talk out issues and concerns to maintain a healthy and strong partnership. Talk out of. Meaning, to dissuade or convince someone not to do something. Example, despite his enthusiasm, she tried to talk him out of quitting his stable job without a clear plan for the future. Example, friends may attempt to talk each other out of making impulsive decisions to prevent potential regrets. Talk yourself out. Meaning, to convince oneself not to do something or to lose confidence. Example, despite initial excitement, he talked himself out of applying for the challenging job, underestimating his own qualifications. Example, it's essential to overcome self-doubt and avoid talking yourself out of pursuing opportunities for personal and professional growth. Tap out. Meaning, to exhaust or deplete a resource, especially energy or enthusiasm. Example, after a long day of intensive work, she felt tapped out and decided to rest and recharge for the next day. Example, continuous stress and demanding schedules can lead individuals to feel tapped out, affecting their overall well-being. Tear out. Meaning, to forcefully remove or extract from a location. Example, in home renovations, individuals may decide to tear out old carpeting to reveal and restore hardwood floors beneath. Example, the chef instructed the kitchen staff to tear out the outdated menu and replace it with a fresh and exciting selection. Text out. Meaning, to communicate or send information via text messages. Example, in the digital age, people often text out event invitations or updates to quickly and conveniently inform others. Example, business professionals commonly use messaging apps to text out urgent messages or coordinate with team members. Throw out. Meaning, to discard or eliminate something. Example, it's crucial to regularly declutter and throw out items that are no longer needed to maintain an organized living space. Example, the court may throw out a case if there is insufficient evidence or if legal procedures were not followed. Time out. Meaning, to take a break or pause from an activity. Example, in the fast-paced work environment, it's essential to schedule short timeouts to prevent burnout and maintain productivity. Example, athletes may request a timeout during a game to regroup, strategize, and address any issues affecting performance. Tire out. Meaning, to exhaust or wear out, typically referring to physical fatigue. Example, the long hike through the mountains managed to tire out even the most seasoned hikers in the group. Example, engaging in intense physical activities can tire out muscles, emphasizing the importance of rest and recovery. Top out. Meaning, to reach the highest point or peak, often in terms of growth or achievement. Example, the company's stock prices finally topped out after months of steady growth in the market. Example, climbers celebrated as they reached the summit, having successfully topped out on the challenging mountain. Trip out. Meaning, to experience hallucinations or altered perceptions, often due to the influence of drugs or psychedelic substances. Example, individuals who consume certain substances may trip out, experiencing vivid and distorted sensations. Example, the psychedelic artwork was designed to create an immersive environment for those looking to trip out during the event. Trot out. Meaning, to present or showcase something, often with pride or enthusiasm. Example, the chef was eager to trot out the new menu items, inviting patrons to savor the innovative and delicious dishes. Example, during the press conference, the company's spokesperson was prepared to trot out the latest product innovations and answer questions. Try out. Meaning, to test or evaluate something, often to determine its effectiveness or suitability. Example, the chef encouraged customers to try out the new dessert menu and provide feedback on their favorite treats. Example, when selecting a new software application, it's advisable to try out a trial version to assess its features and usability. Try out for. Meaning, to audition or participate in a competition or selection process for a particular role or position. Example, excited about the school play, she decided to try out for the lead role, showcasing her acting skills during the audition. Example, talented athletes from various schools gathered to try out for a spot on the regional sports team. Tune out. Meaning, to stop paying attention to or become uninterested in a particular source of information or background noise. Example, as the meeting droned on, some attendees began to tune out, losing interest in the lengthy discussion. Example, to concentrate on studying, she decided to tune out distractions by listening to instrumental music through headphones. Turn out. Meaning, to attend an event or gather in a particular place. Example, despite the weather, a large crowd turned out for the outdoor concert, showcasing their enthusiasm for live music. Example, the community members were pleased to see many volunteers turn out to support the neighborhood cleanup initiative. Typed out. Meaning, to transcribe or produce a written document by typing. Example, the secretary diligently typed out the meeting minutes, ensuring accuracy and clarity in documenting the discussions. Example, as a novelist, she preferred to type out her manuscripts on the computer for easier editing and revision. Veg out. Meaning, to relax or unwind by doing nothing or engaging in leisurely activities. Example, after a hectic work week, she decided to veg out on the couch, watching her favorite movies and enjoying a well-deserved break. Example, while on vacation, the family planned to veg out on the beach, soaking up the sun and enjoying the tranquil surroundings. Wait out. Meaning, to endure or remain in a situation until it concludes, often referring to a period of time or challenging circumstances. Example, the team decided to wait out the storm in the safety of the shelter before resuming their outdoor activities. Example, patients undergoing medical treatments often need to wait out the side effects, understanding that improvement may come with time. Walk out. Meaning, to leave suddenly or as a form of protest, often in a group. Example, dissatisfied with the working conditions, employees decided to walk out, demanding fair treatment and improved workplace policies. Example, the audience at the concert was disappointed with the performance and chose to walk out before the show concluded. Walk out on. Meaning, to abandon or leave someone or something, often without warning or explanation. Example, feeling neglected, she was devastated when her partner chose to walk out on their relationship without offering any closure. Example, it's essential to communicate openly and address issues rather than choosing to walk out on responsibilities or commitments. Want out. Meaning, to desire to leave or exit a situation, often due to dissatisfaction or discomfort. Example, feeling trapped in the monotonous job, he expressed a strong want out and started exploring alternative career paths. Example, in relationships, open communication is crucial when one partner expresses a want out to avoid misunderstandings and resentment. Wash out. Meaning, to ruin or cancel plans, events, or activities, often due to unfavorable weather conditions. Example, the outdoor concert was washed out when unexpected rain showers forced organizers to cancel the event for safety reasons. Example, despite planning a beach picnic, the sudden storm threatened to wash out their day at the seaside. Watch out. Meaning, to be cautious or vigilant, paying attention to potential dangers or hazards. Example, while exploring the unfamiliar terrain, the guide reminded the group to watch out for slippery rocks and uneven surfaces. Example, when crossing busy intersections, it's crucial for pedestrians to watch out for oncoming traffic to ensure their safety. Watch out for. Meaning, to be on the lookout for something or someone, often with awareness and caution. Example, the wildlife photographer advised his assistant to watch out for rare bird species during their expedition in the dense forest. Example, as a responsible driver, it's essential to watch out for pedestrians and cyclists while navigating through urban areas. Wear out. Meaning, to use something until it is no longer functional or in good condition. Example, the avid runner wore out several pairs of running shoes over the course of the marathon training season. Example, continuous usage and exposure to the elements can wear out outdoor furniture, requiring regular maintenance or replacement. Weed out. Meaning, to eliminate or remove undesirable elements or individuals from a group or system. Example, the hiring manager conducted thorough interviews to weed out candidates who did not meet the qualifications for the position. Example, in large data sets, data analysts often need to weed out irrelevant information to focus on meaningful patterns and trends. Weird out. Meaning, to make someone feel uncomfortable, strange, or uneasy. Example, the unexpected behavior of the new colleague began to weird out the team, leaving them unsure of how to respond. Example, unusual occurrences or bizarre events can sometimes weird out individuals who are unprepared for such experiences. Wheel out. Meaning, to bring something out on wheels, typically for transport or display. Example, the museum staff decided to wheel out the ancient artifacts for a special exhibition on the history of the region. Example, during the event setup, the catering team worked efficiently to wheel out tables and chairs to create a welcoming dining area. Whip out. Meaning, to produce or take out something quickly and often unexpectedly. Example, the magician amazed the audience by whipping out a bouquet of flowers from an apparently empty hat. Example, when asked for identification, the security guard was quick to whip out his badge to confirm his authority. Whip out of. Meaning, to exit or withdraw from a situation or location quickly. Example, feeling uncomfortable in the social gathering, she decided to whip out of the party without saying goodbye to anyone. Example, when faced with an unexpected challenge, the athlete had to whip out of the competition due to injury concerns. White out. Meaning, to cover or obscure something completely, often with a white substance. Example, heavy snowfall had the potential to white out the roads, making travel hazardous and visibility minimal. Example, the artist used whiteout to correct a mistake on the canvas, ensuring a clean and seamless appearance in the final artwork. Wig out. Meaning, to react with extreme anxiety, panic, or agitation. Example, the unexpected change in plans caused her to wig out, expressing her frustration and stress about the situation. Example, some people tend to wig out when faced with unfamiliar or challenging circumstances, while others remain calm and composed. Wiggle out. Meaning, to escape or free oneself from a situation, often through clever or evasive means. Example, the slippery fish managed to wiggle out of the fisherman's grasp, leaving him with an empty net. Example, instead of confronting the issue directly, he attempted to wiggle out of the conversation by changing the topic. Wiggle out of. Meaning, to avoid or evade a responsibility, commitment, or obligation. Example, some individuals may attempt to wiggle out of jury duty by providing reasons for disqualification during the selection process. Example, it's important to address challenges and responsibilities rather than trying to wiggle out of them, fostering accountability. Winkle out. Meaning, to extract or obtain something with effort or skill, often in a subtle manner. Example, the detective managed to winkle out crucial information from the reluctant witness. Example, in negotiations, skilled diplomats can winkle out concessions without causing offense. Wipe out. Meaning, to eliminate or eradicate completely. Example, the hurricane threatened to wipe out entire communities along the coast. Example, the introduction of vaccines has helped wipe out several deadly diseases worldwide. Workout. Meaning, to resolve or find a solution to a problem. Example, the two parties spent hours negotiating but managed to work out a compromise that satisfied both sides. Example, when faced with a challenging puzzle, it's essential to remain patient and work out the solution systematically. Wriggle out of. Meaning, to avoid or escape from a situation or responsibility, often through evasive or cunning means. Example, some individuals may attempt to wriggle out of jury duty by providing reasons for disqualification during the selection process. Example, when faced with a challenging task, it's important to address it directly rather than trying to wriggle out of it. Write out. Meaning, to write something in full, rather than using abbreviations or shortcuts. Example, the professor emphasized the importance of writing out mathematical equations step by step for clarity and understanding. Example, when taking notes, it's helpful to write out complete sentences to capture the main ideas and details accurately. Zero out. Meaning, to reset or eliminate a numerical value, reducing it to zero. Example, when closing the financial accounts for the year, accountants work to zero out any remaining balances and reconcile the books. Example, the software developer had to zero out the error count after identifying and fixing the coding issues in the program. Zone out. Meaning, to lose attention or become mentally detached, often unintentionally. Example, during the long lecture, some students began to zone out as their minds wandered elsewhere. Example, when faced with information overload, individuals may unintentionally zone out, struggling to absorb additional details. Zonk out. Meaning, to fall asleep suddenly or deeply. Example, after a day of intense activities, he zonked out on the couch, completely exhausted. Example, the rhythmic sound of rain outside made it easy for her to zonk out and enjoy a peaceful nap. Zoom out. Meaning, to reduce the magnification or broaden the view, often in photography or visual media. Example, the graphic designer used the software to zoom out and visualize the overall layout of the web page. Example, in satellite imagery, scientists can zoom out to observe large-scale environmental changes over extensive areas.